Hello everyone and welcome back to Geekvolution After Dark. I'm Captain Logan.
I'm Eric.
Thanks so much for being here, Patreon, and thanks as always for your contributions to the channel. We sure appreciate it. Eric and I promised you another Geekvolution After Dark because we accidentally deleted one.
I don't put we in that.
And what are you saying?
I didn't delete anything.
Well, it got deleted somehow.
Yes.
But see, neither of those sounds good because one of them throws you under the bus as well, and the other one is kind of passive, like, you know, mistakes were made. Anyway, so mistakes were made, and we lost that other show, so we promised to go ahead and give you another one sooner rather than later, since you had to wait a whole month in between the last two. And tonight, Eric and I are going to talk about whatever is on our minds, whatever we just pull out of the ether. Eric, I'm not even going to go to my topics.
Because I don't have any.
Because Eric doesn't have any topics.
I don't have any topics.
And we did a show that you guys didn't get to see because mistakes were made. And and in that show that no one will ever get to see now, Eric had topics, but I did not. And I would make up a topic as Eric was talking about his topics, and I didn't bring any. This time, neither of us are gonna have that. We have not prepared anything at all. We're gonna talk to you for an hour. We're gonna see what happens. We're just going to let the chips fall where they may, and I think the likelihood of us just sitting here twiddling our thumbs and looking at each other trying to figure out what we want to talk about is low. And the likelihood is low. Mm-hmm. You and I seem to be able to talk for hours on end about, like, I don't mean we talk about nothing, but, like, always invariably something comes up.
Mm-hmm. There's always something that's happened. Yeah.
Or I just think we're pretty good at, like, jumping off of things the other person said, where it's like, oh, and that reminds me of this, and that reminds me of this.
Yeah.
That's kind of, I mean, my and Eric's relationship, and I guess this is true of a lot of relationships, this might sound like a weird thing to say, but my and Eric's relationship has always been based entirely on talk.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, like, for the longest time, we didn't get to hang out together in person. We didn't know each other in person. All we did for fun talking was talking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now we do other things. We play video games, we watch things, and we do other stuff.
Yeah.
But even 2 years in, that still feels like a little surreal to me, where it's like, this is a guy that I used to only know his voice. For the longest time, I didn't even have a face to put with the voice.
And everyone says my face doesn't match my voice.
Yeah. It is certainly not what I would have imagined. Yeah.
Although I feel like that's true with anyone's voice. Right? Like, most people, like, when you finally see their face, you're like, that's not exactly what I thought.
That's true, but I think it's more true when someone, this is a compliment, I think it's more true very often with people who have professional sounding voices, with people that sound good on radio or on a podcast or something.
You know what the most surprising one is?
I think the biggest one is that you're younger than anybody thought you were.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest one.
Which is ridiculous when I go back to my old videos. I sound like an 18-year-old, regardless of what my voice sounds like.
You know what's really strange? If you go back to videos, and I know you don't listen to your voice, so even if you did go back, you probably wouldn't pick up on the nuance of it, because I'm used to listening to you recorded and over a long period of time. So when I go back to the earliest videos that that you made or that I heard from you, yeah, you kind of, not only do you sound a lot younger, you kind of sound like a kid, but you have like a different, you have different vocal inflections, you have different timbre and stuff. That is true even of videos you made just before you moved here.
Well, but that makes sense, because everyone, I think, is symbiotic language-wise. And so you intake what's around you.
Yeah.
So if you completely change your group of friends, how you talk is going to alter, because you're around. I used to say dope kind of ironically because I'm white and I thought it was funny, and I started hanging out with people that say dope regularly.
Yeah.
And it just became a thing I said.
Sure.
I don't think there's any way to combat
like you
that.
sound different.
But I still think that's picking up vocal inflections from people around. Like,
no, and it makes a lot of sense, but it's interesting because I haven't noticed it. It's sort of like watching your kids grow up in a way. You know what I mean? Like Jason used to have a speech impediment, and he doesn't anymore. And I got really used to his speech impediment. When I go back and listen to Jason recorded from like even a year ago, I'm like, oh, I never noticed that he was as difficult to understand as he was.
It's like living with someone as they gain or lose weight. You won't notice it nearly as much as someone who hasn't seen you in 4 months. You're like, oh man, you lost a lot of weight, or oh man, you gained a lot of weight. Whereas the person living with you, you see them every single day. You see that gradual. It's not an all of a sudden thing.
Yeah. No, that's a yeah. I mean, that's a good point. I think some of it too is with you moved from another state.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like you and I have affected each other's speech a lot because we spent a lot of time together.
Mm-hmm.
But I think also moving from the East Coast to the Midwest.
Mm-hmm. I don't think my voice has got any twang here.
Well, we don't have a twang here.
No one has a twang here.
Certainly.
Or if they did, they moved here with it.
No, I think it's difficult to articulate what exactly has changed about your voice.
Mm-hmm.
But it is different. If you go, I mean, really, go back to videos from 2 years ago and listen to Eric and listen to him now. It's different.
Interesting.
It is kind of interesting.
Well, and I've always had a certain amount of, maybe more so than other people, I've always had a certain amount of inflection mimicry where, like, I used to hang out with this one guy who had a really just like naturally deep voice, and when he would do voices, it would be a very specific thing, and I would do it too. And it wasn't on purpose. I wasn't like copying him. It just naturally happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then I stopped hanging out with him, and I stopped doing that. Like it, I don't know. Maybe I have this more so than other people. I have a very symbiotic relationship.
Maybe so, because like I go back and listen to myself from 2 or 3 years ago, and I don't feel like I sound a lot different from the way I sound right now. And you could say, well, I'm me, so I don't pick up on it as much. But like I'm listening to myself all the time.
That's
like,
all
I feel
mean.
like I would be able to see
the
difference.
That's not what I would say.
Okay.
I would say, but you're still in the same place. You're hanging out with majoritively the same people. Like you didn't completely alter the sphere of voices around you.
That's true. Sure.
Like if you just up and moved,
like the main difference is just you. Is just adding you to the house.
Yeah. If you just up and moved, if you'd moved to Florida and started hanging out with my friends, like I think your voice would have altered, or you would talk differently. Maybe if you were constantly around.
I also wonder if listening to yourself as often as
gives
I
you more
find
control
myself
over
having
it?
to. Yeah, I wonder about that.
Yeah.
Because this is not a thing that you see with a lot of professional voice artists and actors and things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like if you listen to, say, like Tom Cruise at 55 or 6 and Tom Cruise at 35, like I don't think he sounds that different.
No, probably not.
So that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe that is a performance-y thing.
Yeah, I don't
because
know.
you always have to be in control of your voice, so you're more aware of it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I've never been a performance-y person, so.
So Eric and I went to the comic shop the other day, and Eric hadn't been to the comic shop in a long time.
No, I've been there in a while.
And we went to Elite, got to see William, and hung out for a bit, and I should take you there more. You guys really get along.
Yeah, I like William. I don't know if William likes me, but I like William.
Oh, I think he does.
This is the first time I've ever really
he's a hard guy to read, but part of it's because he's got a real thick beard, and that's why I was really glad when you shaved yours.
Well, part of it's, this is the first time I've ever been in the store where it's just, like, us and him.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I think he seemed like maybe he's just distracted, talking to other people.
Yeah, sure. But like, I like to go in there when there's not a lot of other people there.
Yeah.
Because he gives you his undivided attention, and he's a real fun, witty guy. But you've got to tell Patreon the story.
Do I?
Well, I think it's hilarious.
Okay.
I mean, you don't have to, but
I mean, that's that. I don't know. That seems like it's interesting to like people that live in the square radius of.
Yeah, maybe so.
Like
but
none of these people know William.
No, that's true. They don't. But I just think it's funny that someone came into your store and said that. Like that seemed like a crazy. You don't have to tell that story.
Sure.
It's fine.
Someone came.
It's just a thing I thought.
Someone came in my store looking for comics, specifically looking for some Spawn stuff, and I was like, "Well, I have a friend who sold all of Spawn to Elite Comics."
I did. And I still might be somewhat regretting it. I don't know. I still feel weird about it 2 years later.
So if you go there, I'm pretty sure they probably still have some Spawns or whatever. So you might want to go there. And he goes, "Oh no, I don't deal with William. I sold William statues on consign. Well, because I think I was like, well, why? And he was like, well, I sold William statues on consignment. And he says it like he pitched him the idea like it was such a great idea, consignment, like no one had ever thought of it. And he comes back and the statues are sold and William won't give him his money and he kicks him out of the store, and that there's a lot of like tension between them, and that at Plant Comic-Con William has a police officer at his booth that's there to protect William from this guy, and this guy apparently pulled the police officer off to the side and was like, well, how far are you willing to go for this person? Are you willing to die? Because we can do this. We can step outside. And so I've been wanting to ask William about this. So I went to the store and I asked William, and he goes, I don't know who you're talking about. He's like, I don't have any security at Planet Comic-Con.
And part of the reason it's funny is because the whole time we were there for like half an hour, 45 minutes.
And I don't buy things on consignment.
And the whole time we were there, William would just periodically be like, I want to know who this guy was. Like, he kept going to it. He wouldn't stop. And by the way, for context, if you want to know who we're talking about, go back and look at the Midwestern panels. And William is in that documentary, and he's the last store in the documentary, but he's also featured throughout.
Yeah. Not the craziest person I've ever dealt with at my job.
Who is the craziest person you've ever dealt with?
Have I ever told you about oh boy, it's Crazy something. His name is Crazy something.
Naturally.
So it's this person, and he's an older gentleman, and he's looking at CDs, and I just like, hey, do you need any help with anything? Is anything? He starts talking about different musicians and selling out, and it starts to get to a weirder, more conspiracy place, talking about these music artists who figured out, and like,
was there like a deep state of music?
Like certain musicians were like went against the music companies and were like knocked off. Like certain musicians have been murdered by the music companies. Like if you speak out against the music companies, they will kill you.
Like they have like house assassins?
Yeah.
These music companies?
Yeah.
Wow.
Which, by the way, if you don't know, is kind of the plot of Josie and the Pussycats, which is an incredibly underrated film.
Is it really? Is it worth watching?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. No. It's a social satire about consumerism and music, and like all of their music has like these little messages that makes you want to buy things, and the way they deal with musicians that learn this and try to stop it is they all die in mysterious plane crashes.
That sounds fascinating.
Because so many musicians die in mysterious plane crashes. No, I
didn't know that movie was about anything.
No, that movie's totally about things.
Oh, cool.
No. Underrated gem, Josie and the Pussycats.
We should pull that out. I would like to watch that. That sounds interesting.
But so I'm talking to this guy, and it just starts
You probably don't have a copy, though, right?
I do not have a copy. I don't watch it often.
I'm not going to own that.
It's been a while since I've seen it. And there's, I think the two backup people are also like become famous or were like famous at the time. Like it's a pretty star-studded cast. As at least in that moment in that year. It should have done better than it did. And I like Evan Rachel Wood. Anyways, so this guy starts, like, this conversation starts spiraling into like a different thing, and then he starts talking about how he's killed people and he went to prison, and then starts selling me on Jesus. Because he found Jesus in prison.
I think I can safely say I've never spoken to another human being that has claimed to murder anyone.
And I think his name was Crazy Carl. I think that's... And when he was telling us...
It had to be alliterative.
Yeah,
right?
I'm pretty sure it was Crazy Carl. And he said that, like, there's a point where he was pointing a gun at someone. They're like, no, Crazy Carl, don't kill me. And sometimes I don't have a good handle on, like, when I shouldn't talk. And there's a point during this conversation...
Which is like different than not having a filter, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think you have kind of a decent notion much of the time of, like, when to... Because, I mean, everybody messes this up sometimes, right? But, like, I think you're good at deciding, like, what not to say. But you're saying you have a hard time deciding sometimes when not to say anything.
Sometimes I'm a smartass and I shouldn't be.
Oh, is that what you're saying? Okay. Sure.
So there's a point where he says... like that he was shot. and he says, I saw the Reaper. People say he's not real, but I met him. And I said,
uh-oh.
Well, what was he like?
But that sounds like a really honest, legitimate question to me.
And he looks me in the eye, he says, you want to know what the Reaper's like? You want to see what the Reaper's like? And he reaches back, and I think I'm going to die. And then
Holy
he's
crap.
like kind of like pulling his jacket off, and he's like, he's an older gentleman, and he's like, help me pull this off. And I'm like, nah, man, it's cool. He's like, nah, help me pull this off. And so like I pull his jacket off, and he shows me this like massive like bullet wounds here.
Oh, I think he got like a tattoo of the Reaper.
No, bullet wounds. Like to prove he got shot. And he's like, this is what the Reaper's like. This is what he does to you.
See, maybe in that situation...
And at some point I'm like, alright man, well if you need help finding anything...
Maybe in that situation, fearing for my life, I wouldn't actually have this, but the first place my mind went was, I might have a hard time not saying, no, but seriously, what is he like?
It's Bill and Ted, right? Like,
Does
that's
he
the
look
closest.
like a giant bullet hole? Is that what you're saying?
But,
I've never seen the Bill and Ted sequel. I don't know if it's worth watching.
I think the good outweighs the bad.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah. I will say...
And it was, by the way, it was years before I finally sat down and watched Bill and Ted. It was on Netflix at one point.
Yeah.
And people always talked about it, so on a whim I finally watched it. I was like, this is like surprisingly watchable.
Yeah, no, it's
I
really
really
good.
like that movie. I kind of expected it to just be like a cult thing that didn't hold up. I really enjoyed it.
I will say, I'm pretty sure this is the only thing I have to say about the Bill... Well, there's two things that come up when I talk about Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. One is... So, there's certain words that we don't use as much anymore.
Oh, is this the N-word thing?
No, it's not an N-word thing.
I thought there was something with...
No. Okay, so there's certain words we don't use as much.
What am I thinking of? That you brought up at one point where there was some movie that early on, that was earlier, and used that word way too much.
I don't know.
Okay, there's something I'm thinking of, and I thought it was that.
No.
Okay, I'm sorry. Continue on.
No. So certain words that we don't say as much anymore, and I get that, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not a sensitive person, and I really appreciate it sometimes when we go backwards and we use that language appropriately.
Yeah, you have historical perspective.
Yeah. So there's a point in Bill and Ted where, the first one, where Bill thinks Ted is dead, Ted's not dead, and they're really excited that he's not dead, and they hug, and they both step back at me and go fag, and
oh, that's what it was.
Yeah.
I don't know why in my head I thought it was the N-word, but you told me the story,
and that's fine, and then
I was thinking like, in what context would that movie use that? Like, why would it use that word?
And that's fine, and that's funny, in the context of the time and the place and the film, right? And those two guys. The problem is in the second one, they won't stop saying it.
So they said it like a bunch of times?
Yeah. So
I don't even remember that in the first movie. It must have not been used all that much.
No, it's just the one scene.
Okay.
But they keep saying, and so there's a whole thing with this. So it's not just...
Did they try to turn it into a catchphrase? Like a Saturday Night Live kind of catchphrase?
Maybe. But here's the thing, is there was a whole scandal a couple of years ago. Because Universal Studios, their Halloween Horror Nights, every year they had like a Bill and Ted stage show. And apparently someone like went to one and was like, hey, did you know that they've just been like making gay bashing jokes for like a decade? Like, they just, like, Superman comes in, they call Superman a fag, and like things like that. Like, we're talking like 2013, 2014, this was going on. And so like, apparently someone thought, like somewhere between the first movie and the second movie, people are like, yeah, it's just a thing they say a bunch. It's very strange.
Weird.
And like, I'm not sensitive about that kind of thing, and like, that word in particular I appreciate in historical pieces, because I feel like we don't use that word, but it used to get used a lot, and it's weird, like when it's the 80s and no one says it and things like, it was a word people used.
Yeah.
And so, like, I really like that in the It reboot, like, the bullies call the kids that because they would.
That. Yeah, because they would.
Whereas I bet you no one says that in maybe Stranger Things or something else.
So you're saying that like if we avoid things like that, maybe not just that, but things like that entirely, it's almost revisionist history.
Yeah, same thing with like retard or something like that. We're like, I get that you don't want to use that word, but they did use it then. It makes sense, and it's weird because when we go back to the 50s, we use period accurate language.
Encouraging it.
No, but that's how they talk now. So like, it's not a thing where like I'm sensitive about these words. Anyone that knows me knows I am not sensitive about language.
Because I mean, you can also make the argument that well, people use the F word every other word.
Yeah.
But there are movies where that's very distracting. Mm-hmm. Like I kind of wish we didn't do that. I guess I'm not as sensitive to that as I used to be. But I used to be really sensitive to that.
But with that movie in particular, it feels mean-spirited, and it just feels like it came on. Like I was like, this wasn't in the first movie. Like there was one line, and it's funny. Why is this the thing they just keep calling people and keep saying? It's very strange. The other thing is, I love the future in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. It's a very distinct future. It's kind of Kryptonian, but it's very distinct.
Yeah, I like it too.
The second movie is just 90s future. It's
they changed it?
Yeah, it looks completely different, and it's really disappointing.
Was it in probably not intentional? Probably not like, well, we changed things so it looks different?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Also, the ending is great, but doesn't make as much sense as it should. It's at the end of that movie, they have... So, you remember how Bill and Ted do the thing that, like, scientists have said is the most accurate depiction of time travel? Where they're like, if I just remember to go back and leave my dad's car keys, they'll be there right there. And then their keys are there because they remembered to bring them back.
Yeah.
The bad guy, who's also the bad guy from Lethal Weapon 2, the bad guy and them have a fight like that, where it's like, well, if I remember to leave a gun here, and then I remember, and then they're like, well, if we remember to throw a net on you, and like it's like that, and it just, I don't remember because I've only...
Did it turn into parody before, too parody? Yeah,
it just goes too far, and also he gets stopped, so he couldn't have gone back in time to do the things that he did. It's a whole thing. I'm not...
That could just be a paradox, though.
I guess I just reviewed that movie, and we're not supposed to do that on Patreon. But
it's not an official review. We can actually review it at some point, you know.
And I won't talk about the fag thing on
True. You wouldn't even bring that up, yeah.
Well, I might be like, there's a word that they use, and it's not okay.
Say on the channel, and yeah. I mean, you know, like when you're quoting for context, it's dicey.
Yeah.
But yeah. I don't know. This is a thing that I wonder about sometimes. Like we always say, you know, we're not going to straight up review something or even do like a commentary here because we don't want to have a paywall for the like regular kind of content we've done on the channel. And I've had people who have said, "Well, you guys would make more money on Patreon if you did that." Like
we probably would.
You really should consider having more material that is only for Patreon. But it's just I've always promised that, so I don't really want to go against it.
And I personally don't like it. Like
when you've seen other creators do it that you like?
Yeah. It's okay if I name things as an example.
I think that's probably okay.
Okay. I love SF Debris.
As respectful as you can.
I hate how many reviews of his I can't watch.
Oh, is that a thing?
Yeah.
I didn't know that with him.
Yeah, he has like tiers for his thing, and like a certain tier. It's a lower tier. I think it's like the $5 tier or something like that. He has reviews that he does specially for Patreon, and the reviews I want to see.
Yeah.
And that's a bummer. Like, he did the Iron Man movies. I want to see his review on the Iron Man movies.
I think we could almost, and I'm not saying we're going to do this, you could almost get away with it more. I mean, I think fewer people would be irritated if it was more of like a lot of the kinds of things that get requested in the $20 tier here. Because they don't tend to be like major movies; they tend to be like more obscure things.
Mm-hmm.
But then sometimes they are more major movies. Like you know, David requested Kung Fu Panda, and I've actually had requests for that before. So like that would probably piss somebody off.
Yeah.
You know, if I didn't, if I did that. But like, I'm glad that we came up with a show like this because I like having something that's just for Patreon, just to give people you know more of an incentive, like to or more to like make it more cool for the people that are here already. Like I'm always trying to think of neat things that I can give people because they're nice enough to help us out. But at the same time, I don't want to put up a paywall for the people who don't want to. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, how do I reward people without taking something away from someone else?
Mm.
I didn't know SF Debris had a paywall like that.
Yeah. And so there's a Spider-Man podcast called Amazing Spider Talk, which I would check in on occasion. I would check in on occasionally if I was in kind of a Spider-Man mood.
I'm glad that you told me about that, because that was invaluable when I did the '90s Spider-Man.
Yes, they did the interview with the guy,
the showrunner from from the '90s Spider-Man cartoon, whose name is escaping me.
Sapin.
I can't remember. I can't remember. He wrote Cyborg in Rebirth
for a long time too.
It might still be going. I don't know.
But so their podcast, it starts at the beginning of Superior Spider-Man, and they go through all that in the Superior Spider Talk. And then when it resets to Amazing, they become Amazing Spider Talk, and they keep going. And they have a couple like side shows, which is generally what I would more listen to. Like they had a thing called like Essentials, which would be like, here's all. Look, you know the death of.
It was a black and white podcast.
Well, they're like, you know the death of Gwen Stacy. You know this. You know this. Here are some other Spider-Man stories that are really good. You know that you might not think to look at. And that was generally what I listened to because I didn't give a shit about Dan Slott. They have changed their format to one that's much more what I'm looking for, which is they're basically going through Spider-Man. I'm not sure what they're going to do after season 2. They're doing it in seasons now. But, like, they're going through, like, they went through all of Lee and Ditko. That was season 1. But they didn't, like, just do issue by issue. They would be like, there would be an episode focused on the villains. And we'll talk about all of the villains that were created in the Stan Lee, Steve Ditko era and how that all shakes out. And, like, we're going to talk about the supporting cast. And, like, so, and things like that. And then they did the same with John Romita. There was one, the last one they did was, Mark Waid was on, and he was great.
Really?
Talking about whether or not it was a mistake for Peter Parker's parents to be secret agents.
Yeah.
And Mark Waid's like, it probably is, but that's the first Spider-Man comic I ever read, so it's just always been a part of the character to me.
Oh man, how many things do we have that with? We were just talking about that yesterday with the big Spider-Man things that we both first got in with.
Yeah, because my first
You're major JMS with the totems.
Yeah. Coming Home is the first modern Spider-Man I read.
And with me, it was Maximum Carnage.
Yeah.
And I had that thought where I was like, yeah, Maximum Carnage isn't really a good story, but
Coming Home is in fact a good story.
I love it. Yeah, but it's not like shattering the Earth kind of story. Like,
it's pretty good. I mean,
I thought it was fine. Like,
I mean, it's. And I also have the context of what comes later, but like. At like 12, when Ezekiel shows up and is like, so you just have to ask yourself, did the radiation give the spider powers and that's what transferred it to you? Or was the radiation killing the spider because that's what radiation does and the spider gave you powers in its final moments? And I was like, oh my god!
I mean, yeah, that's cool and all, but like, it's also just not my Spider-Man. I don't know.
And it's very, like that in Ultimate is like, that's the Spider-Man I grew up on.
Yeah, sure.
And the Essentials, like the Stan Lee. Like, for me, that's Stan Lee, JMS, and Bendis, that's Spider-Man. But we've both talked about this with The Wedding. There are a lot of Spider-Man fans who are much older than us that hate that Spider-Man got married and hate that Spider-Man got married to Mary Jane. Why would he get married to Mary Jane? It doesn't make any sense.
And because we grew up with it and we're used to that being the soulmate.
That's just what it was.
We got pissed when they broke it up.
Yeah. And there's a lot of stuff like this that's just generational, where it's just...
Those people from that last generation couldn't possibly care about that. They wouldn't even know about it. They're done.
Yeah. Now, the thing with the current generation that's come up since the wedding, since the marriage has been dissolved, at the very least also probably camp on the Raimi Spider-Mans, and so... They also probably think of Mary Jane as the primary
that's
love
true.
interest.
We were talking about this with Red Hood.
Well, yeah, because I'm probably at the tail end, but I'm of the generation that Jason Todd. I still think Jason Todd should have stayed dead.
Me too.
I'm still pissed he's still alive, or that he came back. My favorite thing is that the trade for Death of the Family has a quote from Dennis O'Neil on the back that says. It would be a really sleazy stunt to bring him back.
Yeah.
Quotations on the back of the trade.
And even like we were teased by Jeff Loeb in Hush with this.
Well, I actually like it in Hush.
No, I do too.
But
that's what I mean. Like, it was teased, but like you think, oh my god, they're really going to do it, and then they don't do it, and then like what, a year later they do it? Yeah. Isn't it really close to there?
It's like maybe a year or two later. Well, and the whole reason it happens is because Judd Winnick read that story and was like, oh, you wasted the opportunity to bring Jason Todd back. Like, Under the Red Hood is him being like, Hush should have been Jason Todd. That's obviously how that short story should end.
See, I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with that either. I mean, mostly because there was only one suspect in the entire fucking story.
Well, and I'm saying this retroactively because I've read a good Hush story now. Hush is not a good story. Now, I have the same thing. I mean, I can understand why a lot of people would have the same thing with Hush, maybe, that I have.
It's a lot of people's first Batman
with
story.
Maximum Carnage, right? Where like it's not a good story, but there's a lot to like in that.
No, it's a lot of people's. I constantly hear like Hush is the story that brought me in the comics. Hush is my first
and
Batman.
It's beautiful and it's it's a wonderful atmosphere. It's worth looking at.
Yeah.
But Heart of Hush is legitimately a great story.
Yeah. No. Paul Dini made Hush a great.
And that would be the reason. Besides just the integrity of, let's not bring Jason Todd back. He existed ultimately to die.
They announced they're doing Hush, right?
Yes.
As an anime film, they're crazy if they don't bring in all that backstory stuff from Heart of Hush.
You think so?
Which I forget
you can make it so much better. You can make it so much better.
Yeah. Now the whole thing about how he intentionally murdered his parents.
You think it's more likely to be like Death of Superman though, where it's just like let's try to represent it, but it's kind of it's a little bit.
No, because so much it's flashbacks. I think we'll physically get the flashbacks to like his mother raising him on.
There's a question with Hush we haven't asked though, which is it in that fucking continuity?
I mean, probably.
See, you don't want that.
I mean, I don't need Damien there. No.
Yeah.
No. Well,
that probably hurts Death of Superman more than it hurts Hush, though.
Yeah.
Just because that Superman was nothing, and I just could not care whether or not he's alive.
Mm.
And I guess they made me like him a smidge more in that. We're going to review that on the next omnibus, but I've been hearing a lot of positive things. I might end up being one of the more negative reviews on that. I thought it was fine, but like...
It is fine. But to wind back for a second, because I brought up Amazing Spider-Man.
Sorry.
And I was just kind of talking about. So they changed their format. They're now going like era by era on Spider-Man, right?
Okay.
And they're still doing the monthly reviews, but only for Patreon. Until I think it's a month later. I think a month later they post their current reviews. Now, I don't care about current Spider-Man. I mean, I do now, but like I didn't care about current Spider-Man. So like I don't give a shit.
Right? I'll go on record to say, new Spider-Man, we're
really good,
really excited
really good.
about it. It's quite good. Here they are. Here they are. Did you
get 3 in your comics?
No, it's not out yet.
Yes, it is.
Is it out?
I have it at the store.
Oh, I didn't because... Okay, I'll come to your store and grab one then. Because,
I don't think I have it on the shelf.
Son of a bitch. No, I think I had forgotten to put it on my pull list.
Oh.
I forgot it was double shipping. It wasn't on my pull list yet. God damn it.
Damn fool.
And I can't tell you the sheer number of things. Okay, I can. It's like 3. But the things that I didn't find out until issue 2, so I have issue 2. Infinity Wars. I bought the like Infinity Wars one-shot thing that I thought was Infinity Wars 1, but Infinity Wars 1 came out, and I didn't put it on my pull list until apparently after they came out, so I read
I was pretty
sure the one-shot thing, and then I got 2, and then I pulled 2 out right after it, and I started and I read the first page of 2, and it revealed who the bad guy was from the end of it in that recap, and I was like, where the hell was that? Oh, there's an issue I missed.
Wait.
God damn it.
Wait, do you know who the bad guy is?
Yeah.
Is it Kitty Pryde?
No.
Okay.
I don't know if I want to spoil it here.
Okay, no, that's fine. So, because they've been advertising, like, who is the villain, I was like, there's a thing in Ultimate Spider-Man that looks just like this, and it's Kitty Pryde, and I was like, is it just Kitty Pryde?
Give me a second.
Kitty Pryde was Star-Lord for a little bit.
Oh, that's who it is.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yep.
I mean, just based on the picture.
Was not a shocker or nothing?
Sure.
Well, and also,
I'm pretty sure
considering Infinity Gauntlet.
I'm pretty sure when we sat down...
And also considering the movie.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure when we sat down and pared down your pull list, I'm pretty sure you intentionally took that off your pull list.
No,
because you're like, do I actually need every event? I thought we talked about that one. You're like, yeah, I guess I don't care that much.
So I have a problem. I have a bit of a comic book addiction, and it's not a reading addiction. It's a collecting addiction.
No, reading addiction would be fine if you read everything you bought.
It would be more fun.
Yeah.
Certainly. Now, to be fair, as I'm getting slightly more excited about comics again, I am reading more. I bought my stack of books.
You've been sending me things that you're reading.
I read almost everything in my stack, and I even read a couple of number 2s before the ones just because I had them.
Mm.
I did go ahead and read that Catwoman just because I had it. So
How was it?
It was good.
That's good.
I don't know if I'll keep it. I mean, I'll read the first issue and see if I want to keep it.
Sure.
But I put that on my pull, and I was like, and then you were like, you haven't even read it yet. I'm like, yeah, that's true. So I may or may not keep that, but like, you're gonna laugh at me. Like, I put Avengers and Justice League back on.
Did you?
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna read those in trade.
I was. I don't know if I can do this trade buying thing. Like,
okay.
I am really back and forth.
I mean,
on
I'll
this.
probably buy Jason Aaron's Avengers in trade. Like,
I'm so back and forth on this.
And maybe Snyder's.
Those both seem like they're going to be major runs.
Yeah.
And I kind of want them in singles if they're major runs.
Like, you don't even have all of Jason Aaron's fucking Thor!
No, I know.
And you like that stuff! You know you like that stuff!
And I don't...
And you don't collect Avengers!
I don't collect Avengers either. No, I know that. See, it doesn't make sense.
You're not going back and collecting New Avengers because Bendis had a major run on New Avengers.
I know, but if I'm... But here's the thing. If I get
You think it's going to impact the other books you're reading?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think that with Justice League.
I almost think that more with Justice League than I do with Avengers, but sure.
Just because metal didn't actually affect anything in anyone's books, I imagine his Justice League will be the same. Like, he's just going to go as big as crazy. I imagine his Justice League will be like Uncanny Avengers. Like, it's the most important book that no one ever talks about. I just did it yesterday.
Those books haven't come out again yet. I can take them off.
No, I'm not saying you have to.
But I can't decide what exactly I want to do. It's this constant feud I have with myself where it's like, am I a reader or am I a collector? And obviously I'm a little bit of both. But like, if I'm reading regularly, I really like reading things as they come out. I don't like waiting for trade. I've never done that. I'm not good at that. And I'm always worried that there's going to be some like cool one-shot thing or something that I'm going to miss if I buy too much in trade.
Grizzly Shark and Sea Bear.
What now?
There's a one-shot that Robert Kirkman once did.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Robert Kirkman once did a one-shot called Grizzly Shark and Sea Bear, and on the cover, it just says they got mixed up. And it's a shark in the woods and a bear in the sea. And it's this amazing one-shot that's now like $80, and I'll never get to read it.
That's hilarious. As soon as I was like, am I supposed to know what you're talking about?
No! Of course not. I hope it's an animated series.
I was always able to justify it before, more anyway, because it's not like I ever recouped costs with the videos. Like,
well, if you're getting that shit, you have to buy Web of Venom.
It's on my bowl. Because I was like, well...
It's actually not Web of Venom, it's Web of Venom, Venom.
Venom, because it's Venom in Vietnam, and it's a whole thing.
There's a miniseries called The fucking First Host.
First Host?
First Host. Because Venom's apparently been on the planet for billions of years or whatever.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And I've always bought Venom, so I'm going to buy this shit, but, like, no. Okay. Well, we'll see what that's like.
But now everyone cares about Venom because they named the god of the symbiotes. It's a very super rare issue, and everyone needs it because it's worth money. It's
happening this year because of the movie.
I guess.
I mean, that's more what
but it is. But they named the god of the symbiote. So what I found out is they named the god of the symbiotes in issue 3 of Venom, right? And now all of a sudden everyone's showing up looking for issue 3 of Venom.
And that's part of the reason that I put Venom back on my pull list.
Because there might be another.
And why? Well, no, it's more because. So we had a conversation where we're like, well, the things I collect, if I'm not reading them, I might as well just buy them later. A week after we had that conversation, 3 comes out, and I can't get it for cover anymore. So
that will go away, though, right?
Maybe, maybe not. You don't know. And so, like...
I mean, yeah.
But if I had it in my file already, I just have it. I wouldn't have to fucking deal with it.
But, so it turns out... So someone's explaining this to me, and I checked online, and it has gone up. Aaron's first Thor, God of Thunder, Thor God of Thunder.
Yeah.
Like, issue 4 of that has a character that apparently is retroactively this Null guy.
Yeah.
And that book's now worth like $30-40.
Interesting.
So you've got that. You can sell that to get Venom 3. I thought you were buying God of Thunder when it came out.
I read it. I didn't buy it.
Oh, I thought you bought it.
That was back when I was borrowing things out of the store. You know why I didn't buy it? Because I don't collect Thor, and so I didn't buy it.
Okay. Oh, I always thought you bought that first. Like
There were, I don't know. I like. There were certain things that I bought, even though I don't collect them, just because I didn't want to like take advantage of the thing I had with William. So there were periods where I just didn't borrow things, and I was buying things that I didn't necessarily collect. But I got kind of overzealous, and I bought too much. And I'm not borrowing at all right now. I just because I'm not reviewing every week. There's a part of me that if time was no object, I'd love to bring back the #1 show. I'd love to read every #1 because I felt really knowledgeable when I was doing that. Somebody left a comment on an old one of those the other day, and I went and looked at because I couldn't remember how many I did. I did 7, and I was like, those were really fun to make. And part of the reason I quit was because the view counts weren't great. But I've gone back and looked at them, and they're average. What I used to do with those is 700 or 800 views. That's about the comic audience we have. Except for like major things. But anyway, I don't know if this is interesting to anybody else. But
yeah, but how many things did you read the #1 of? Go, that's really good, and then you never went back to?
Yeah, but I know about it now. It's just a knowledge thing.
True.
It's like, well, now I know the flavor of it. I know like I can talk intelligently about something. Even if I never read the rest of it, I know something about it. That was the thing that I had at the comic shop when I worked at a comic shop. Where I knew about all these things that were on the shelves, and I saw them regularly. And even if I didn't read a lot, even if I didn't read everything, I had to do inventory, and I just knew what was there. When I was reviewing every #1, I knew everything that came out, knew all the titles.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so yeah, I do kind of miss doing that, and I've thought about bringing it back, but how would I have the time?
Well, and you'd have to buy every #1.
I mean, I'm sure William would let me borrow them again.
Sure.
Like, we haven't done it in the longest time, but it's not like he told me I couldn't do it anymore.
And then if it's valuable, you just hang on to it, you pay for it for cover price. You could have a Saga #1.
That's a good point, yeah.
No,
that is a good point.
I don't know how that keeps happening. Where, like, I feel like everyone catches on. Where, like, okay, these creators, if they do a new series, probably gonna be big. And still, Saga #1, Paper Girls #1, every Robert Kirkman comic, like every single time, people do. I would just buy those on principle. Like,
and there are people who do, of course.
Yeah,
they're called scalpers, but
well, but that's after it gets big, right? Like those aren't like I don't know, like to me, it's not scalping. You just just give me #1 of every Brian K. Vaughan, every Kirkman.
But there are scalpers who also do that. Is all I'm saying. That doesn't make you a scalper, but a lot of the scalpers also. I
don't do that. I'm saying that's
no, but that doesn't make a person a scalper. But there are definitely scalpers who do that. Certainly.
Well, those people at least seem to know what they're fucking talking about. It's not like, oh man, Hulk Wolverine showed up. Can I buy all of your copies? No, fuck you. Get the hell out of my store. You don't get any copies. I wish I could say that. I can only tell them they can buy 1 copy. But I wish I could say, no, fuck you, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. You're impure. Shame. Speaking of addiction, you know what's hard?
Well, and those people piss me off because of the Shattered Grid thing.
Shattered Grid?
And things like that.
Yeah.
Where it's like, this is a book everybody's talking about, and it's going to be big, and they make it so that people who actually want one and are going to fucking read it can't get their hands on it.
And you're stuck with the second printing.
Yeah, I'm stuck with the second printing. Pisses me off. Eric's got a first printing. Because he and his friends at work one day decided they were all going to buy a #1 because they got several of them.
And we waited a whole day and no one came in and bought me.
Meanwhile, somehow I didn't get one. In fact, I don't even know how that happened.
I don't know.
Because it was 25, it's on my pull list, I don't even know how I didn't get one.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't remember now.
Yeah.
I remember it making sense at the time, and I didn't blame William.
Yeah. No, I also remember.
What the hell happened with that? I don't even remember, but somehow I didn't get one.
Yeah.
And so I got a second printing.
And William went out of his way to get you a copy because he was like, it's on your pull list. I know, you actually want this.
No, I think it was a mistake they made at the store on accident, but I didn't get one.
Yeah.
And I'm still call me ridiculous. It's a fucking comic book. I'm still annoyed about that because I've been reading that since the beginning. You have all these idiots that came in with Shattered Grid and left before it was over. And I've been invested in this book for 3 years, and I didn't get a copy of the like only big thing that's happened in it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Not to mention the covers were cooler than the one I got.
I mean, you could have ended up with like a trainee cover or something.
Yeah, but it still is cooler looking than a white background with a Power Ranger symbol on it, or whatever the hell it was. I forget now.
I got Jason. That was the cover I got. I got the Jason.
Eric doesn't even collect singles. Like,
nope, it was just a fun thing we did one day.
Yeah, well, I wish I'd been there. I didn't fucking get one. I could have, I could have stood in for the guy that really didn't care about it, but did it anyway. Anyway, yeah, a little jaded about that. Just a little. I'm laying it on a little thick.
Kind of angry
because it's funny. Maybe it's funny. I don't know. I don't know if this is interesting to anyone. But yeah, I don't know, Eric. Like I kind of wanted. There's a part of me that wants to keep buying Avengers and Justice League because I read the first issues and I really liked them and kind of want to read them regularly. But then I keep letting things stack, so I don't know.
Well, and those are the books that you're going to stack more likely than the other ones because, like, yeah, you're enjoying it, but you just stay on the books you actually read.
Yeah, but then like I read the things I'm excited about. It's not necessarily about what I collect. So, like, you know, Venom I haven't read in like a year and a half.
Yeah.
Except for I did read the first issue of the new one, but
how was it?
I remember liking it.
Okay.
I don't remember anything about it now, but
Mike Costa's not a great career at DC, and it makes me sad, or at Marvel, and it makes me sad. I like him a lot.
I know he's a guy you like, yeah.
G.I. Joe Cobra's great, and I like his Transformer run. I'll fucking fight anybody. I like his Transformers run.
Hell, I wanted to read Unicron, and I don't even read Transformers.
It's technically an offense.
No, it's that I just got done reviewing the Transformers movie, and it's the one thing I know anything about.
Unicron. Yeah, nope, that makes sense.
I felt like I could maybe pick that up and have, like, an inkling of what I was looking at. Maybe.
I mean, maybe. Look, I'm like 6 years back on Transformers.
Probably not. But those books, like, what little I've read of them seems so good. I really want to get into those.
No, they're great. James Roberts' Transformers is one of the best science fiction comics being published.
I need to do that.
It's over.
Something that
we're gonna do Wreckers at some point.
Been getting really self-conscious about lately is I don't feel like somehow I feel like we aren't as much of a comic channel as we used to be.
That's because comic videos don't get viewed as much as the other videos.
Yeah.
No, that's.
And I kind of want to talk about comics more. I know the reason that I don't keep up like I did and why I stack things is because I'm not doing regular new comic reviews. I don't think enough people care about the mainstream stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm buying.
Yeah. No, I agree. It sucks. That's not what our audience is there for. They want you to talk about superhero movies.
And occasionally I'll still have somebody that'll leave a comment and be like, and you talk about us like more as a comic channel, or wonder why we're not as big as other comic channels, and I'm like, we're not really a comic channel, but we are, right? Like, we come at things from the lens of comic readers a lot.
I mean, I certainly do.
Even when we're not reviewing comics.
You're better at putting that filter away, and just kind of viewing it as its own thing. I have a very hard time putting away that baggage. I'm like, yeah, but it's fucking wrong. I don't care if it's good. It's wrong.
Are you talking about with adaptation?
Yeah.
Or,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're talking about other things, and we're viewing it as comics.
Even if it's not an adaptation, we look at things a lot through the lens of that industry. Like, we compare that industry to other industries.
That's true. That's true. And almost, and a lot of our topics are about, for like GNN and things are very comic focused and things like that.
Like, I guess I'm kind of analyzing our own channel right now, but I kind of wonder, how much of a comic channel are we really?
Yeah, I don't know.
But like when we did the omnibus, I felt like that was our chance to take the inherent idea in Geekvolution, really run with it and do
everything,
something from every and I think that's really worked. I've heard from a lot of people that say it's the best era of Geekvolution.
That's nice.
Which is a really nice thing to hear because I love the omnibus.
Yeah.
It gives me free time. I love it so much. I mean, there's a lot of preparation for it. You know, I have to think more about what I'm consuming and stuff during the week, which is kind of weird, I guess.
We are going to have to knock out both of those He Made Me Watch It soon. Because
Oh,
we've got
yeah.
2 weeks left, right?
Yeah, we've got 2 weeks left.
Yeah.
No, we should do that. Well, if we have, there may be a night where we can just do them back to back,
Yeah, that'd be fun.
and that would be kind of fun.
That would be really fun. Oh man, did you hear about GameStop?
No. What about
Okay. So I thought of this because you're talking about, because we talk about comics and we're talking about how GameStop got comics. Apparently GameStop's failing. The sky is falling on GameStop. They closed 2 to 3% of their stores. Everyone's like, GameStop's going right out of business.
It's so weird. I keep hearing conflicting things about that because when we talked on GNN, when we reported the whole they're going to start having comic spinner rack things, and I was like, well, clearly they're trying to go to some other things to recoup revenue because they can't sell used games like they used to. And like I was like, they used to be $1 billion company. Somebody left a comment and was like, what are you talking about? They're a $2 billion company now, and I'm like, there's no way, right?
Well,
are they really?
One thing I have consistently heard, and part of the reason apparently we have been so busy at my job,
Yeah.
they are no longer buying games.
Wow.
Yep. Yep.
If I didn't,
I don't know if that's just certain stores.
if corporate
or...
didn't drive me insane when I worked there, I would almost go back to work for them just because you don't have to do that bullshit anymore. But
Yeah.
man,
Yep.
that's fascinating.
Yep.
They're not buying games anymore.
Not buying games no more.
How are they going to make money? I mean,
I don't know.
that means that. I'm sorry, you actually blindsided me with this because that was their entire business model. So what that means, so GameStop when I was there, it was used games and it was new games and they sold new
But
games.
you upsell the used games because you make more of a profit on it.
Yeah, they sold new games just to get people in the door in the first place.
For people that don't know or have never worked in an industry like this,
Yeah.
when you get a new product, especially something like a video game,
You earn almost nothing.
So if a video game costs $59.99, the store probably paid $59.75 for that
Yeah,
game.
that's right.
So you're making like a quarter on new games. On used games, you pay out $2 and you sell it for $30.
It's a 400% markup or more.
Which is, and people get angry, and I do think most places that do this, the percentage is too low. But that's how you offset the cost of the new games.
Yep, that's right.
But yeah, so for anyone
And
that
you sell
doesn't know,
the new games so that you're relevant and to get people in the door, and that's why they always made a big deal out of reserves
and pre-orders, and,
just to,
yeah,
that's what a reserve is.
Yeah,
a reserve
yeah.
is a pre-order. That's how they did it. So yeah, they were at GameStop. The lingo was reserve.
Okay. Do you remember that one video I showed you that one time, the Game Crazy?
Actually, I say that. But then I think in their ads they said pre-orders, but we always said reserve. Now I actually don't know. Anyway, I'm sorry, what?
Did you remember the video I showed you, the Game Crazy?
Yes,
video?
it's great! We should do something on that at some point because it's hilarious.
It's really funny.
Or is that a thing that like went viral and everybody knows about?
I don't know. I saw it on another channel. I saw it on Experiment years and years and years and years ago.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone else has done it
Because I don't want to
since
rip
then.
anybody off, but I would love to just tell people about that video.
It's
It's
really
really funny.
Yeah. If you've not seen it, go look for Game Crazy training video. Zelda Scott is the greatest thing ever.
You make me want to watch that again. Because I saw it once and it's really funny. And I kind of
Someone. I think it was Spoonie. So someone once made a T-shirt that was just a picture of her. It said Zelda Scott. I really
That's
wanted
great.
that. I really wanted that T-shirt.
But anyway, so I just want to break this down for a second. So they're not gonna buy in new used games anymore, which means inevitably at some point they're not gonna have used games anymore. Which means they are banking entirely on new product that is not video games, like all of the other peripheral stuff. So the question is, are they really doing that well as a novelty store? Are we supposed to buy that?
I mean, the part from personal experience, the pop markup is pretty good. Pop's like twice what a store pays and things like that. And if any of their other paraphernalia is similar, I mean, I don't know.
But I mean, when I was there, you had people all day long, coming in and buying used games, and I would think with just that kind of novelty paraphernalia stuff, you might have days where not very many people walk in.
Mm-hmm. And
that does not sound like a sustainable business model to me.
And
Maybe at a mall, but just at a strip mall.
That
like,
sounds
I don't
like
know,
you're
man.
asking people to switch almost entirely to buying video games on the internet, right?
Yeah. Well, it sounds like they're rolling over and saying that's what's happening now, and we can't compete because they can. I mean, that kind of is true.
I mean,
But like, you guys do okay with video games.
Well, and there's a lot of stuff where like, there's games that I assume are readily available you can't get on Amazon, sold out. Can't get this Switch game, you know, that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
I found getting video games specifically on Amazon is not the easiest thing sometimes.
That's true. Yeah. And like sometimes,
like if I didn't have a store near me, and my only access to video games was through Amazon, I would look it up and be like, oh, this is out of print. It must have been a short print run. They don't like it's just you can't get this anymore. Walk into GameStop and it's there. Or walk into any used video game store and it seems to be readily available.
Yeah.
Even new, but yeah.
Well, and obviously they're still going to have new games, unless at some point they change the name of GameStop to something else.
Stop.
Which is what everyone really wanted them to do. Boy, that's interesting. Because if they stop selling used games, it seems like...
Because they don't do consoles anymore, either.
They don't do consoles?
They don't do consoles, apparently. They
What?
don't do used consoles. I don't know if they do consoles at all, but apparently they don't do used consoles.
I didn't know that either.
These are all things I'm hearing. I haven't gone and asked somebody.
I'm
but
gonna
I haven't
have to
gone to a
look into
GameStop and asked. But these are things I'm being told, and part of why we've been so busy.
Really interesting. Wow. Okay, I didn't know that. No, you really blindsided me with that. I had no idea.
Maybe the dead are coming back from
And dogs and cats are living together. Yeah,
that's why I've been so busy lately.
The day, like, I would have thought the day GameStop stopped selling used games would be the day
they
that
closed
it
their
folded.
doors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I mean that feels like that's like the way I felt when Nintendo first put a Sonic game on their console. Like that doesn't feel right. That doesn't gel. These things don't go together. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Speaking of Sonic, I have Sonic socks. Like my crazy.
Do they make
Sonic
you go
socks.
faster?
I haven't tried running them yet, so maybe. Jason saw these socks earlier, and he didn't see the blue, so he thought they were Christmas socks. He was like, because it looks like a candy cane. If you don't notice that, it was like, well, yeah. And until you look at the other side, and then it looks like it's got a belt buckle. It looks like you probably can't even see the belt buckle, but it looks like a candy cane wearing a belt buckle. So yeah, I gotta contort. Ugh.
Well, thank God you're wearing socks. You remember that one time the entire internet flipped out because I didn't wear socks on camera?
It was one comment!
In the place... No, it was a couple.
Was it really?
In the place that I live in.
The whole internet.
How dare you disrespect Cap's household by not wearing socks?
And I think that's actually what they said.
Yeah.
I think it's like you're disrespecting Cap's household. And what's really funny is, Cap's fucking sitting here.
Yeah.
Like, if I had a problem with it, I might have said, put on some socks.
Yeah.
But I didn't, because I didn't.
Why would you care? Well, especially...
Is that it? Well, and like...
And that might be a regional thing.
We're on After Dark, so I'll say this. Is it like the weird, like, internet foot fetish thing? Where it's like, it's weird to put your feet on camera?
I mean, they weren't even, like, in shot.
I think there were, like, a couple times where you could see them. Where they came up in the shot.
But probably because I do this a lot.
Is it just... Here's the thing. 2 questions. A... Is it unprofessional? And B, do we look professional enough that is too unprofessional for this channel?
Well, it's... I mean, like, it's possible it's a regional thing. I come from Florida. Everyone wears nothing but sandals all the time.
Sure.
Like one of the weirdest things is like the world's obsession with, like, hating Crocs. Doesn't make sense in Florida. They're the easiest fucking shoes to wear.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, like...
It's hot there.
Yeah, yeah. So, like... That's not a weird thing for me. Like, that's just... You don't wear socks a lot in Florida. That's just a thing. I don't know.
I guess it's like the no shoes, no shirt, no service thing. Where it's like, it's just...
also not a thing in Florida.
I bet not. It's rude to... I think when I was in Florida for 6.5 seconds to pick you up, and we were hanging out with your friends, I think one of your friends wasn't wearing shoes. If memory serves.
That might be. They might not have been wearing shoes.
Or maybe it was just somebody I saw in a restaurant, but somebody wasn't wearing shoes.
But no, I worked at gas stations, and I worked at a gas station. I've worked at grocery stores and things. People come in with no shoes. People come in with no shirt. Not so much the grocery. Well, I think maybe did get some customers. It's just it's hot.
Yeah.
And like a lot of people are are like labor workers. So like they're out in the heat all day, like working, you know, whatever.
You probably see girls jogging in bikinis a lot.
No,
not so much.
No, maybe like a sports bra and like just shorts, but no, not bikinis.
Not bikinis.
No, that's not a thing.
Okay.
Maybe if I lived closer to the beach or in Miami.
Yeah.
But not where I lived.
Okay.
At the very least, I was about 20 to 30 minutes away from a beach.
I guess I kind of meant sports bra, but yeah, sure.
Bikini is a very different thing.
No, it is. That's true. I just mean not wearing a top.
Yeah.
Like you probably see some of that.
Yes.
That's what I meant to say.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that's just I was going somewhere with the shoe thing.
Oh,
no! I've
complaining that somebody was annoyed at you for not wearing shoes.
I've been to Walmart with no shoes. Now, to be fair, you have to like sneak around because Walmart doesn't like that. Because there might be like glass on the floor or something like you could hurt yourself, and then they're responsible.
They're culpable, yeah.
But at 3 in the morning, nobody gives a shit.
To be fair, and again, I didn't live in a place with 120-degree weather, but like I would certainly draw the line with like being in public. Like I would not wear shoes in public personally. Like I wouldn't do that. But like I don't know, making an off the cuff kind of bloggish video where you're clearly at the place you live.
Yeah.
Like
I'm just kind of setting the stage.
Foot is like constantly up. I don't know, but I just thought it was a strange thing.
My friends and I would walk around, like we would walk around, no shoes.
Yeah.
We'd also walk in the street because there's no sidewalks, but you know, whatever.
Sure.
You saw where I live. Like there's not a lot of traffic there. It's not like I'm on the main road or something. But yeah, I don't know. That might be a weird culture shock thing.
Yeah, but like, I don't even know.
Guy probably lives in like Siberia or something.
I don't know if it was that. I mean, it very well might have been that. But I'm also wondering if it was just like this person has different standards for what should be on camera and what shouldn't.
Maybe. Well, I didn't even. It's not like I did it on purpose. Like I just hadn't put. Because usually I put socks and shoes on like when I wake up or whatever. Like whatever that video was, it was a video I had just woken up and we shot. And so like I just came out of my room and I sat down.
Eric's usually walking around without shoes.
Yeah.
Or without socks.
Yeah, no, I just came out of my room and I sat down. And I'm pretty sure the only reason I know it is I have a tendency to cross my legs. I probably did this for a period of time and
somebody saw your feet.
I wasn't even thinking about it. I didn't even know until somebody made a comment. Maybe a couple people made comments. I don't remember. That was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, I guess it was quite a while back now.
Yeah.
But I think in general, people there are people that have different that have like their own standards for like what's okay to be on YouTube and what isn't, and then they kind of expect everybody else to have the same standards somehow.
Maybe so. And
there are a lot of things, and I'm not even talking about with that, even with that, but just to you know, pull this a little bit broader for a second. Like we had that conversation the other day about comments and like whether or not you should like moderate your comments so that there's not like anything with like swearing or offensive things. Whether or not comments
if you're
are
a family-friendly channel,
are comments an extension
Yeah.
of the video you're making?
Yeah.
I tend to say they are not.
They're not.
And I don't want to curb people's free speech by taking a lot of comments down, because then I can be blamed for getting rid of something just because I didn't like it or I didn't agree with it, and so it's just I just bring that up to say, and it's on my mind, but I just bring that up because it's not the same thing, but it's like you have people that just expect you to do that inherently. There's not a standard for
We're
this.
not in control of anyone else.
But also there's not a standard for this.
Or that's our philosophical view is we are not in control of anyone else. We're not going to try and police or control what people say.
Yeah.
They can say what they say. The channel is family friendly. The YouTube comments are YouTube comments, right?
Yeah.
Like
I mean, that's how I feel about it. And look, in a perfect world, yeah, the comments would also be family friendly and everyone could read them. But like, there are things where I don't know where to draw the line, and you can say, well, like there are places where it gets really crass, and we have some of the more tamer comment sections for most videos. But there are certain videos.
But since like the dawn of YouTube, I feel like
get kind of crass,
YouTube comments have been the butt of jokes. Like everyone knows, YouTube comments are a cesspool.
Yeah, it's not like if I had my own. If I was running like my own website,
that's different.
I might do it differently.
I mean, I wouldn't.
I might. I don't know. I don't even know. But and that would be like a full-time job.
Yeah.
And like. But it's a thing that kind of blindsided me, where somebody brought this up the other day in a live show in the comments. We didn't talk about it, but like I noticed somebody talking about it, and I was just like, and in such a way where it almost seemed like some people were kind of surprised I wasn't already doing that and wondered like why they would even have to bring it up. And I'm just like, I feel like a lot goes wrong before it goes right in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't even know how you would decide what to take down and what not to.
Mm-hmm. Without looking like you have a double standard or...
Yeah, you would look like a hypocrite in some way.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I mean, exactly the same thing as Twitter, like, taking down Alex Jones and certain people, where, like, I don't know if you've read about this, but, like...
I mean, I know what happened.
Well, you know about that, yeah.
Alex Jones got taken off of everything.
Like, simultaneously. Yeah. But the thing is, Twitter and YouTube and the places that took him down... Obviously, I don't like Alex Jones, but these places that took him down, they cited he violated terms of service. Well, you know that you can go find all kinds of other people that have technically violated their terms of service, and maybe even in the same way, that hasn't affected their bottom line, so they're not getting rid of. All they had to do was say, he's affecting our bottom line, we can't have him.
Well, yeah. I mean, Twitter's got a lot of issues with stuff like that. They've got the verification thing though. Like, I'm me, like they've got the verification thing.
Yeah.
Which twisted to become. So it used to be just so this person is X famous, right? Like, I don't know what the algorithm is, but this person is X famous, and they are. This just lets people know that this is their account.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only thing it is. But then it became like a popularity thing. Where like,
of course,
where like people would tweet at Twitter and be like, "This person's a white supremacist. Why is he verified?" It's like, well, he has a large following, and people want to know that that's really his account. Like, now you're policing.
Like,
now
verify means validate or something.
Yeah, like it's endorsing it. That's
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, that's a thing.
That's problematic.
Twitter's.
What I'm saying is, once you start going down that road, you're gonna look like a hypocrite. You cannot begin to be consistent.
I mean, maybe this is a topic for a different After Dark.
Sure.
But...
No, that's a can of
There is a very
up,
strange place that we are in right now, because people want to say censorship and freedom of speech doesn't apply to YouTube, Twitter, or Facebook, because they're corporations, they have complete control over what can and cannot be on their
And they do. They have their own rules, and they should be able to enforce. And I think what some people are saying is, well, Cap, you have your own rules, you should enforce them. But like,
there's a weird conversation, or there's a conversation to be.
They want me to take the rules I have for the channel and put them to the or something.
But there's a conversation to be had about how uncomfortable it is that the majority of communication that people have right now is on corporately owned websites that can take down what you say because they own it.
Right.
That's a scary thing.
Yeah. Well, because they are basically monopolies. Like, there's not another Twitter, there's not another YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And I have heard some people suggest that that those kinds of websites should be handled like public utilities. And I don't totally know where I fall on that, but I understand that argument.
Yeah, like it's
what I'm saying is, if they were public utilities, then it would work more like they were a government entity, and then it would be we would be beyond just the principle of the First Amendment. It would become a First Amendment issue.
Yeah, there's a weird line of just
because people like to use that argument all the time, where they say, well, it's not a First Amendment issue because it's not the government doing it, so they have the... I'm not talking about whether or not somebody has the right to do something. I'm talking about whether or not we're setting a scary precedent. That's different. It's not... You can't say, well, just because someone has the right to do something...
It's ethical versus legal.
It is ethically right.
Yes.
No, it's not necessarily. It is still the principle of the First Amendment, and with the principle of the First Amendment, which I happen to agree with, I guess if I had to label myself something, I'm maybe a free speech absolutist.
Yeah.
I don't want to tell people in my comments what they can't say.
Mm-hmm.
I will delete comments if people are saying, like, sexually crass things about my wife. I'm not going to have that.
Mm-hmm.
There are places where I draw that line.
That's a personal standard.
It's a personal standard. I've maybe deleted 4 or 5 comments ever in 9 years.
It's...
So yeah, I would be within my rights to do that, but I wouldn't ethically feel good about it.
I mean,
and I'm not responsible for trolls and people that say stupid shit on the internet. And also, I don't need to argue with them or take their comments down. Why can't I just ignore them?
Yeah.
Why can't I just not deal with them?
And you should too.
Yeah, precisely.
And yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry if I interrupted you.
No. I mean, we're already 10 minutes past. We should have the conversation about Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and the mass communication being controlled by corporations.
We may do that next time.
Yeah.
We definitely should have that conversation.
Put a pin in that.
Well, folks, thanks a lot for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. This was fun. This was easy.
Yeah.
I didn't find it difficult at all to find places to go with the conversation without things written down.
Yeah.
Never fear, we will go back to the old format. We will continue to bring topics with us, but we thought it would be fun to just kind of roll and see where we went. And you guys basically just got to see what a regular conversation with me and Eric was like.
Yeah.
This is what we do a lot.
Yeah.
And if you... And we posted this on Patreon, so a lot of you guys know about this already, but we did this very thing on a road trip.
Yeah. We just talked for like 5 hours.
Yeah. And just recorded an entire conversation.
That was when we went to go see Rasco.
That's right.
Yeah.
It was a recording that came out really shitty because it was a really bad microphone.
Yeah.
But if we ever did that again, I would come up with a different way to record it. But
yeah. And if you're new to Patreon, which a lot of people are since we recorded that, you can go back and see that.
Point. Yeah, sure.
You can go back and listen to however many hours it was.
It was like 11 or 12. It was quite a bit. Well, folks, thanks again. We sure appreciate it, and we will see you again with more videos here on the channel. So, Eric and I are going to be back in a couple weeks with Geekvolution, or what am I talking about? The Geekvolution Omnibus, and Jason and I just put out the Geekvolution Minibus, so you can see all the stuff that he and I did. That just came out hours ago, and I finally got the rest of it up. So, anyway, thanks again, guys. We sure appreciate it. I am Captain Logan.
I'm Alex.
See you, fellas.